You know what a harlequin is? A harlequin's role is to serve.
It was piss poor. It was bad.
What are we watching?
Birds of Prey. We're gonna watch Birds of Prey. You ready for... I, to be honest, haven't seen Suicide Squad.
Now hold on. Can we explain real quick? This is how we do this. We periodically we're watching the movie exactly while we're reviewing.
Right. So every about 20 minutes or so, we'll turn it off, come in here, talk about it.
Talk about how we're feeling.
How we're feeling, what our views are. And I enjoy this because at the end, sometimes things change. Sometimes the ending can fix your problems.
Sometimes if you have a movie that you're like, you know what, this is not going so well, and then you're like, oh my god, they wrapped it up so beautifully. This is a perfect movie. Now you get to see the evolution of what it's like,
right,
from start to finish of what we're feeling. Look at some movies we watch, we love the first hour and so, and then the ending ruins the whole movie.
Right, Dr. Sleep.
And you just see our evolution of what we're experiencing, and that is what we're doing. That's the kind of reviews we do here.
Right, and so it's different, it's a nice little take, and it's something that I would personally like to see. Other than the wrap-up at the end, it's like, oh, that's how I feel. I want to see how you felt during the movie, and how you view. I love to ask people, while watching a movie, go, okay, pause it and go, okay, what do you think's going on right now? Let's try to puzzle it together. I love doing that. And this is us doing that with you guys. So I know nothing about this Harley Quinn and how Margot Robbie portrays this character.
The giant box office debt, we're gonna at least give him $1 more.
It's nothing without a master. No one gives two shits who we are beyond that.
But we are 18 minutes and 40 seconds into Birds of Prey, whatever.
Fantastic Emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn movie. Your thoughts?
First of all, the thing that's been plaguing me is, like she blows up the whole chemical plant. You go, This is a world with Batman. He would have already taken her down.
Yeah.
Especially something as big as that. He would have taken her down. Batman would have owned this whole beginning. What Ewan McGregor is doing, it's a flamboyant, gay villain. And I'm like, that's fun.
Right.
That's so much fun because they're using that.
A lot of people had a problem with the blowing up of the thing. I thought it was fine. Okay, I thought everything that was going on was fine. How she somehow gets through everything just from happenstance, it's fine. You know what? It's the anti-hero. She only cares about that sandwich.
The thing that gets me is, and I feel like they're gonna probably do this quite a bit, is what is stated is not what's shown. So what was stated was she is a mastermind. She has all these brains, and she's really smart in what she's doing, kind of like a Jack Sparrow, but she's not. It's all dumb luck that anything of this is happening. So what was stated in the very beginning by her is completely falsified.
And you know what? It's kind of just, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's getting worse and worse. Is she keeps talking throughout the whole thing, narrating. Now, for Deadpool, it was fine because it's only in the beginning and only segments throughout, not the entirety. Every 3 minutes, I'm talking, narrating. Now, I might be wrong, but I don't know why. If I might be wrong, that Deadpool might have talked throughout the entire thing, constantly.
No, but you know what? You know what it is you've seen, like, Harley Quinn is talking about other characters. Harley Quinn Deadpool never talked about other characters. He never said, "Oh, here's so and so, my love interest, and here's why she does this and why she does that."
But
he never did that. He only talked about himself.
It seems
And
like
so you have that weird dynamic of her telling everybody's story, which seems a little odd.
But it seems like like say Deadpool movie, you got more of a scene, and you've watched the scene play out completely before he talked. She's almost like talking throughout the entirety of the scene, or every like throughout the scene she'll say like one-liners here or there, and it just kind of irritates me, and it's slowly irritating me more and more.
You know, another thing that kind of irritates me is they dropped her in a vat of some kind of chemicals, and it did something to her. So apparently she has some kind of superhuman something.
See, I was under the impression that when she was a fine straight arrow, she was normal, and then when she went into the vat, she became crazy and everything, and the Joker made her insane. Okay, but she starts off in a cartoon in the very beginning saying, "I was crazy first."
Kind of having that.
I was always crazy.
So
I tried so much.
What happened with the vat? Did it give her some kind of superpower?
I don't know what it did.
Because so far, like she's like, "Oh, I was only not attacked because of the Joker, because of everybody was afraid of the Joker and stuff." Well, hold on. If you had superpowers because of this chemicals, then everybody should still kind of be afraid of you, unless you were just, someone's right-hand girl. I
do have to say, at this point, 18 minutes and 40 seconds in, I do not like Renee Montoya.
You know what made me not like
detective.
her?
I don't like her.
I liked her when she was analyzing the crime scene.
Yeah,
that was fine.
The Boondock Saints
But
scene.
then all of a sudden, when she was like following Harley, and she goes, and she was doing like that weird
grunt thing. They made it so they tried to make it so comedic.
Over the top kind of weird thing, and you were like,
you know what it was?
Oh.
You know what? I just pieced together what that scene was. That scene was a Guy Ritchie movie. Can you name it?
Yeah.
It was
Rock and Rolla.
Oh my God! They copied the Rock and Rolla right there. That whole sequence, but not
with
as
everybody
fun.
showing up. Yeah, and different little things. Yeah,
but not near as fun.
No.
Wow.
It was inspired by a Guy Ritchie movie.
Like everything right now, I see it has been done better. They tried.
I enjoyed the little moment of the sandwich falling, and she's like crying and sad, because in the trailers you see that scene and you're like, oh, that must be a really heartfelt moment. No, it's really something stupid. And I enjoyed the contrast between what you would expected from the trailer to this.
Yeah,
but in the context of the actual movie, I had an enjoyment by saying, oh, that's not a big thing from the trailer, but in the actual movie thing, I was like, wow, that's a little. I mean, it's funny, but it's a little too much. I mean, even whenever you had, say, like Deadpool, and you had something that was heartfelt. It had the comedy stuff, but then it also let the heartfelt stuff come in, and that's why you felt so much for Deadpool, is because you had, like, in number 2, his girlfriend, or supposedly the fiance at the end, gets murdered and dead, and so he's killing himself, he's doing this, and you see this emotion, and you're like, oh my God. You get so attached. Here, you don't even get attached to her.
Yeah, I wish they delved more into. I was expecting them to delve into that sandwich being like Wilson from
if
Castaway.
If that sandwich was not just a joke, but meant more than that,
build it up, keep it going.
Like if it was more of like she just didn't want to lose something because she's lost everything so much. She lost the love of her life. She lost this and that, and so now she wanted to hold on to it for just to hold on to something. that would have made an emotional connection with the character,
Right.
and so you would have been like, ah.
Wait! You're rewriting this movie to make it better.
Yeah, I know.
Right now.
that would
Because,
have
no.
been fantastic.
Holding on to that sandwich, and that sandwich meant so much more, and she never gets a chance to eat the sandwich, and then later
She never gets a chance to enjoy,
but then
life, enjoy the sandwich,
then
enjoy love.
Then it gets destroyed, and then you actually see that her becomes serious and like vengeful, like
Well,
take
because
it.
now
Right?
all
I love
love and all joy in her life would have been taken from her,
Right.
that she could have ever had.
That would have been a great movie. I would have been completely on board with that.
That would have, for me, that would have cemented an emotional connection with this character.
I have no emotional connection with this
You
character.
don't. You really don't.
And right now, it's just fine. But I don't have an emotional connection with her. It's just fine. And you are so right. That would, I wish they would.
That's
just
why you need
build that
writers
up.
talking to other writers.
It's collaboration.
Yeah,
It is.
you need
So,
collaboration instead of just somebody saying,
Let's
I got a good
continue on
idea.
because there's a lot more
Yep.
to this movie.
The Joker and I broke up. I wanted a fresh start. But it turns out I wasn't the only dame in Gotham looking for emancipation.
Okay, so we are 54 minutes into the film.
54.
About halfway. And the action sequences, very enjoyable. Director of John Wick 3, good job.
Action director.
Doesn't matter. The
Stunt
guy from
coordinator.
John Wick 3, good job.
you know what's funny is you
Doing
can tell
great.
in the action sequences they said, hey, we need to hit this beat, and this beat.
Yeah.
Get us there. And he did it really cool, but at the same time, the beats that they had to hit were like, you go, oh, that's a cliche, like, that would never happen. Like the guy getting his beard set on fire, he's strangling her, she gets the lighter from the little
And he catches
girl,
on fire.
and then holds it up,
Yeah.
and then by that time, anybody holding it would just have hit her against things,
yeah.
would have done something.
Right. So
You know, that
he had to hit,
kind of stuff happens
but
all the time.
I guarantee he was given, hey, we have this action sequence in the jail cells, and he's like, all right, well, there's got to be water. There's got to be sprinklers coming down.
Well, because you want
everything.
you want the water coming up. You
Right.
Want, you know,
I guarantee
makes it more appealing.
He was like, okay, we need this, we need that.
And I know they wanted to say that she has wronged a lot of people, and they wouldn't even care. She broke into the police station, and yet they're like, oh, who cares? We're bad guys. We're in the jail. Let's fight her because she's here. They want to say that. It's very loose. It's very dumb, but at the same time, I get it.
Let's go with first off. At the 20-minute mark, they did a what the hell moment, and then it reverted back, and then let me retell you the story to this point. And so I was thrown through a loop. I didn't like it at first, and then I enjoyed it later. What I hate is the detective saying, having the shirt, I shaved my balls for this.
I liked that the one
What is that?
police chief did call her out on that.
Right.
And be like, we have a dress code here. I liked that because it acknowledged how inappropriate that shirt is for that character.
And dumb. You're forcing personality onto this character.
Well, one thing I had a problem with is in the very beginning. I mentioned earlier that they say one thing, but then they do a different thing.
Right.
That happened again already, where she said, "Oh, I never told anybody that about me and Mr. J breaking up."
But she told Black Canary.
But then she did just tell Black Canary,
Right.
In a flashback
Prior to that, you're right.
to what we've watched, and you're like, okay, so why tell us one thing, but because you're telling the story, you're an omniscient being telling the story, and you know everything that's happened, and you know everybody else's stuff that has already happened, and you already said that you've never told anybody else. It would have been fine if you would have never said that, or if you would have said, I've only told one other person. You could have literally said only one person ever knew.
Right.
And that would have been fine. Why do you have to say one thing and then show another?
I wanted So far,
Ewan McGregor is
Ewan
amazing.
McGregor is amazing. Yes,
His character is so off the wall. It is great.
I am laughing every single time.
Amazing.
He's like, I
enjoy him so much.
He is what's cool about it is he's like Harley Quinn, and they don't show that enough. They don't compare that because he'll be like, oh look, this girl comes in and she wants to talk. She's looking at some of my artifacts. I don't care about the what's going on right now. I want to talk about my artifacts. So it's very scatterbrained, like Harley Quinn, but not as much. I like the scatterbrain of Harley Quinn and how she deals with things. I hate the little stealing the
Little
Asian little girl. The thief
girl.
I hate the detective. I really liked Black Canary. Black Canary, she has so much emotion.
The crossbow girl, we don't know who she is. We just know her as Crossbow Girl at this moment.
I love his conversation with Crossbow Girl. He's like, I like crossbows.
He's like, why are they working for me? I love crossbows. Yes, I love Ewan McGregor's character. But you know what? Here's the thing that actually I have a problem with Harley Quinn. She's outrageous, which is fine. But I would like to have a purpose for the outrageousness. So let's compare her to like Johnny Depp's character in Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's look at that. So you have him. He's always like whoa, and then he's like parlay, because she even used the word parlay, which was very weird.
Right.
And so that's what reminded me of her, and you have this eccentricness, but at the same time you have this intelligence that you're like, you didn't find out till later that you're like, wait a second.
He was always a step ahead of it.
Yeah, and at certain points people were like, whoa, that's the greatest pirate I've ever seen. And he goes, and so it may seem. And you're like, there's a method to his madness?
Right,
what?
right.
In this movie...
He used his drunkenness to get his one-up on everybody.
In this movie, Harley Quinn never has that.
Right, and
She's never intelligent in any way.
You know what I have a problem with?
Even eccentrically intelligent.
You know what I have a problem with is the fact that she's an amazing fighter. The fact that she's an amazing fighter, if they kept that, she shouldn't be an amazing fighter.
Well, see, that's what I liked about, like, even look at the Pirates of the Caribbean when we were just talking about that. Johnny Depp's character was never an amazing fighter. He was always like I was always gonna say it's more of like a why can't I think of what's his name? He falls around all the time. Asian actor, one of my favorite, Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan is always, he's never like the best fighter, but he's always like, oh, I'm falling around. Oh, happenstance, let me do this. And so that's what was so great. He was never the best person there. And here, she's like, she's supposed to be saying like, I'm super smart. She says she's super smart. And then she says, then she's an amazing fighter. And then she's also like, she says she's everything. But we never get to see the intelligence.
Right. I would have liked, say, like Heath Ledger's Joker. Okay, Heath Ledger's Joker knew just enough to get by real quick. Okay, but he's not an amazing fighter. He's methodical.
No, he got owned by Batman at the end.
He got owned by Batman, but like, so he would like he was always methodical. So like the pencil thing, he's like, I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. And then done.
It's gone.
It's gone.
You're like that.
So you're
yes.
like, he already planned what he was going to do, and so I was expecting Harley Quinn not to be this I'm amazing at fighting type of thing. Where'd she learn how to fight?
Actually, you know the thing that bothers me, or these are supposed to be villains, okay?
Right.
Well, she is supposed to be a villain, and this is another thing that kind of bothered me in the trailers of Suicide Squad. These people are murderers, are killers, are villains. They're supposed to be methodical, they're supposed to be evil, and here they're all played for jokes. it's always like, oh well, I'm just this and that. They don't care. The thing is, we're following a villain, and we're supposed to be like, oh, she's just a girl that just doesn't care about anything. Well, that's fine, but where's this methodical villain? Because you were with the Joker. Joker slit people's throats. It was very dark.
She claimed she came up with all the things.
She was just as dark as him,
right?
And she claims darker. And it's like that when you have the Roman guy.
I don't see it.
When you have Roman and he's like laughing and like slitting people's throats and stuff, and then he's like, oh, there's a booger, and he's like, oh, okay, kill her. He's the darkness that she should be.
Right.
But then I guess you couldn't have this movie because, then you'd have to make him even darker.
It's very, from what I hear, from what I saw in the trailers of Suicide Squad, it's very Suicide Squad. You don't really buy that these guys are bad.
Like super bad.
Yeah, I don't really buy that she's super bad.
To the point of Batman has to come in and stop things, in the comic books.
She disfigures people. She doesn't murder people. She has morals.
If she would have came into the police station and literally had an Uzi killing all the police,
right,
instead of beanbags, that would have made you go, she's a bad guy. Right.
So, but ultimately, you have to side with her. And they did a scene. And that's when she was drunk and she was talking to Black Canary, and where she actually showed emotion. They should have had that way early on, so you would actually cared about her character within the first 20 minutes.
Some kind of emotional connection.
Right. They should have had that. So far, is it a bad movie? No. Is there gripes? Yes. But
there's a lot of little gripes, but I mean, is it like the most awful movie? Is it like The Room kind of a thing? No. You don't sit here and go, this is a terrible movie.
It's fun. It picked up. I don't see why it's called Birds of Prey, because there's no unity.
We're 54 minutes into the movie.
Halfway.
And none of the characters are ever like connecting or anything like that. Like, you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like if you call the movie Guardians of the Galaxy and then the last 30 minutes of the movie, they come together and become Guardians of the Galaxy, you're like, but we haven't established this camaraderie at all.
No.
This friendship.
It's very...
It doesn't make sense.
It's very Fantastic Four. It's very...
the new
Justice League. Yeah, it's very Justice League, where they weren't a team.
No.
I
think that's the problem with it so far. So far, it should have just been called Harley Quinn.
Really,
it shouldn't have been called Birds of Prey, even though the characters are all in there for Birds of Prey. But it should have just been called Harley Quinn because it's just a Harley Quinn movie right now.
It being called Birds of Prey, you think that like there's Black Canary, okay, that's a bird. Everybody should be named as a bird or has like a type of bird.
Yeah, why is it Birds
subtext?
Of Prey? Because it's just supposed to be females, and that's a thing that people are always like, oh, we're birds.
Here's a canary. Here's a parrot. Here's a like different types of bird.
Or at least maybe like one of the characters' last names. It's like Margaret whatever, or Margaret Canary, Margaret
Montoya,
Blue Jay.
Have you seen the Montoya? Has beautiful colors in the season. I don't.
Something peacock. Something whatever.
Right.
Something.
Other than, hey, look, chicks.
I have noticed
chicks.
I wasn't looking for it, and I've heard all the time that this had like this little subtext of like men evil and stuff.
See it.
I've noticed little moments like where the Black Canary is singing the song, and it's like it's a man's world, but that's fine. But I didn't have a problem with that.
What's funny is if you listen, if you listen to the chorus, it's a man's world, right? But if you listen to the dialogue, or like the verses, she is all talking about how she's stuck as being a pawn for the Black Mask. So it's her ballad of herself and how she has to take orders from this guy.
One thing that I'm not seeing, what's funny is they say things like in the dialogue, they say, oh, this captain outdid this one girl who, what was her name? Montoya?
Yeah,
Renee. Outdid her for that job. The captain did, but the captain's taking things serious. The captain's this and that. Like, no wonder he outdid her for that job because he's taking his job serious. She came into a thing with, I shaved my balls for this,
and what, she's dating the district of attorney,
but it's funny because
she was.
It's funny because she's like, oh, she lost it to this jerk, and I guess in a weird sense they're supposed to say that like women are losing their job, they're not getting where they should be because of men or something like that.
But if you dress like this in a professional, like how I am right now, in a professional, you're not going to get the job. I don't care if you're a man or woman.
Yeah, so she went to her job with, I shaved my balls for this, and she, like, it's trying to, like I said, it's one of those movies where it says one thing, and it shows you another. It would have been fine if you wanted to show that guy as a bad guy in any way, make it to where she is always by the book. She is like the Captain America kind of a person,
and that's what
always
I thought.
By the book,
and that's what I thought the lady was going to be. Is she was going to be the grounded character, because every movie, no matter how off the wall, any good movie has to have a grounded character that the audience connects with, because then you see the outrageous stuff, and then you see this grounded character in the movie, and then you go, okay, now you know that is outrageous, that's weird, that shouldn't be there, okay? Because this character says, that's wrong, that's weird. Now, if there's no character that says, that's wrong, that's weird, then you don't know who to get behind, and you get a little disjointed from the audience, okay? Because the audience knows better. This doesn't have that. Renee Montoya should have been that character, but they made her instantly, I shaved my balls for this. Now, you can't get behind that character as the grounded character in this overemphasized Gotham.
Well, you know, another thing also that has been slightly bothering me, because you can't watch this movie and not see a little bit of Deadpool in it.
Yeah.
And the problem that's been bothering me a little bit is, so you have, like in Deadpool, let's just use Deadpool 2 because it's more recent. People know that more. But in Deadpool, when he meets people, he's not always eccentric. When he was talking to the little fat kid and stuff, and he was depressed and down on his luck, he was telling the kid things, and he wasn't always eccentric. There was some heartfelt moments there and stuff. So you have that. Now you had that one moment when she was drunk, talking to Black Canary,
where she was serious,
where there was some kind of seriousness. But then after that, if she's not drunk, there's no humanity with her. There's no any kind of personality other than, I'm just going to be eccentric,
right,
in some way, and it kind of ruins the character.
You know what I was hoping that they would do when she was taken and she met Black Mask. Okay, instead of being like, oh, just no, let me go. I can get you. I wanted to see her become a villain. I wanted to see her show her villainous side. Like,
exactly. I wanted to see her to be like, okay, well, I'm now standing up against darkness. It's like, well, let me show you the dark inside me.
Let's show you my darkness. Let me show you that. It reminded me of John Wick, the first one, when he's tied up and the guy's like, I'm going to kill you. And he's like, no, you're going, and he's just saying, hey, you're going to be screaming, you let me have him, or you're going to be screaming beside him and stuff. Just that moment where you're like, oh.
He's like, you know, everybody keeps saying, I'm back. He goes, maybe I am. Yeah, I'm back. And then, but he's in like the worst position to even be saying
right.
Like,
but you saw his inner darkness.
Yeah,
you
that would have been cool to see Harley Quinn finally go, I do have darkness.
Yeah, that's what that scene was missing, because you need that, because that's called the revenge part of your movie. She is showing her darkness, but then she sides with him, because then you're like, that is an evil person, because John Wick used to be an evil person. So now let's see that evil side come out.
Instead, they tried to make her, hey, look, I'm always joking around. They tried to make her the Captain Jack Sparrow.
Right.
Where it's you never, but you know what's even funny? Even Captain Jack Sparrow, at certain points he was like, I'm a pirate, love. You know,
Yeah,
and
he would screw over somebody
He would still
and-
be dark at certain points. So
there's-
he wouldn't always be like, whoa.
No. There's points and that Jack Sparrow showed. By the way, pirate. I'm a pirate. I'm serious. I'm ruthless. I'm methodical. I don't care if you become my friend. I will screw you over because this is what I want. This is who I am. There was always times where he had to remind you, she hasn't done it yet, and that was perfect time.
There was a time where he was like, "This is my ship," and he was all angry and stuff. There were times where you actually saw Jack Sparrow as a dark pirate. You were like, "Oh,
Right.
he is an anti-hero." So you never see her as an anti-hero, except I'm a bumbling idiot, almost like Valley Girl kind of thing.
I'm saying this gripe. I'm saying this gripe because that is what's missing. Is people are like, oh, this movie was amazing, and so no, you don't have that moment to show us the anti-hero. You need that moment. We need to see that darkness. If we don't see the darkness, she's just a good person.
Yeah, honestly, the thing that bothers
Just a
me the
little
most is
awkward.
The movie is all right. I mean, it's just a fun little day at the cinema, but I feel like the character, it's going to be a movie that I'm like, okay, I watched it, forget about it.
Right.
You know, if you would have hit all of these steps, it would be a character that you go, oh wow, remember Deadpool? And everybody goes, yeah, you know.
It would, right, and it would be the moment. Like even in Deadpool, they had a moment where he was dark, where you saw him burned and it was all fire and everything around, and he was fighting the guy in the first one, and he was fighting that guy. You saw his anger. You saw this, and
He
you're
wasn't
like, oh.
when he was naked. That naked fight scene,
Right.
He was not making jokes.
No,
he was serious as hell.
You need a moment like that so you can get behind somebody and go, I feel that pain.
He wasn't skipping naked to the next person going,
Right.
hey, let's just kill you now. No,
Right.
he wasn't. It was serious as hell. They took that serious. And that, you need those moments of seriousness with that character if you're making an anti-hero.
But that's the difference between a good movie and an okay.
And just a passable movie.
Right. And
Right now we have a passable movie.
Yeah, it's just passable. And but a writer and a director
I don't
need
know
to know.
But I don't know if it's part of the writing or if it's part of the interpretation of the character. Because look at what Ewan McGregor has been doing with that one character. He's like, oh, I just do this, and then he's like, you know what? Let's kill him. Let's do that. Oh, you know. Oh, I wonder
Ewan
if
McGregor, when he was flamboyant and he was joking, but then when he went in there with Harley Quinn, and he came out dark.
I wonder if it's Margot
was-
Robbie saying, I don't want to be, but an anti-hero.
Right. He was dark when he came out. I was like, yes, this is when Margot Robbie is going to show her dark side.
Right, and I
Harley
think
Quinn.
maybe it has nothing to do with the director's direction. Maybe it's literally because keep in mind at this point Margot Robbie can say exactly how she wants her stuff to be.
Right.
And so maybe this was her interpretation of the character. She was like, I don't want to be dark. I don't want anybody to look at this dark. I want to be the hero. I want to always be a hero. Maybe this is her idea of Harley Quinn,
Maybe.
and she doesn't want to change that.
Maybe.
Russell
They
Crowe
could
did
have had
that
a Russell Crowe moment.
Russell
with
Crowe
Robin
did
Hood.
that with Robin Hood.
Yeah. And
I am not a villain.
What? Thanks, Russell.
Yeah.
Mr. Crowe.
Fighting around the world. Let's finish.
Isn't this fun? It's just like a sleepover. We should order pizza. Big cosmos. Harley, focus.
I'm the one they should be scared of. Not you, not Mr. J. Because I'm Harley freaking Quinn.
Who's having a good time?
Get ready, ladies.
one quick thing is like the action. You can tell was now. First of all, one thing we do have to say is we know for a fact that the person who made the action in John Wick 3 was asked, the stunt choreographer was asked to come in and redo a few scenes. But they couldn't redo the ending. So the ending, you could tell a lot of the action there. You were like, oh, this is not cool at all.
Comparatively, with the action previously in the movie, it was piss poor. It was bad. That's it was, and the whole the rest of the movie is so just underwhelming.
Literally,
when they all got together, it's kind of just like, okay, we need to get together, we need to do this, and then suddenly they're friends and they're
at the very end
chatting.
of the movie. But it was literally the end action sequence that they came to.
And they built up Black Mask. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put on the mask." That meant nothing. But let's build up that shot. Oh, he's putting on the mask.
Nothing.
That meant nothing at all.
I thought maybe he had some kind of powers, some kind of something derivative because of the mask.
Something comes out when he wears the mask.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Nothing.
Didn't change anything.
There was no reason for that at all. The action sequence was piss poor. Just pretty much wides the entire time. Not even artistically cool. And then we get into the chase sequence of the car, which was just
Well, you get into the random. Somebody has a superpower.
Oh yeah.
Out of nowhere. I love how, because it wasn't just us watching the movie. I love how even the other audience member goes, "Where the hell did this come from?" Keep in mind, this is a girl.
Yeah, she goes, "How come she didn't do this before?"
In the very beginning of this action sequence.
So
because she can scream and cause this force.
And then we don't even see the confrontation. We see Harley Quinn get, we're down and out, nothing's happening, and then blow the guy up. Done. Dude, we just walk to these steps, and then we're done, and now we're excited. It was.
See, in a normal action movie, the bad guy always has, at the very end action sequence, bad guy has an upper hand. And you never had that.
Oh.
You never had that. And at one point, I only have one bullet left. That was the quintessential bad guy has the upper hand. Is Harley Quinn aims her gun and she pulls the trigger. Oh, I'm out of bullets.
See, and that part excited me because I was like, now we're gonna have the showdown. No, we don't. That was
now
it.
You're gonna have something that maybe we could see why he has that mask.
Yeah.
Why he has this. Why he has something.
I got excited, and what frustrates me the most is, even though we griped within the first half of the movie, we griped about a lot of little things. It still had potential. It was at a 7 out of 10 for me, and that's very good up until the halfway marker, and then it just went straight down to a 4 or 5 to me.
Yeah, it's literally to the point of, you just move on and forget about this movie.
This is just barely above Justice League for me. It was just utterly disappointing.
Actually, I think I have a little bit more of a notch up for Justice League because they stayed true to like the cartoon Justice League.
Are you talking about like the Superman beating everybody?
Yes.
Scene.
Superman coming. No, I'm talking about Superman coming in at the end and just owning the bad guy, going, "Why are you guys? What? This guy's hard for you guys?" And you're like, what?
Yeah.
You just stop and go, "That's every Justice League TV show, cartoon ever. Good job, good job. That's exactly how the mythology of that should be."
Yeah.
They did not stay with any kind of mythology here with this Harley Quinn thing.
I was just so irritated.
At least with movies like Venom was still like, I want to eat this. I want to kill this. I want to, and Eddie Brock saying, "No, stop!" And he's like, "Hmm." And so you had still the villain, because remember, this is a villain. Harley Quinn is a bad guy, is a villain.
And she kept saying,
they ruined that.
Sorry, kid, I'm a bad guy. Sorry, kid, I'm a bad guy.
When have you been bad?
Yeah, name one time that, oh, well, you were gonna sell me over to this guy. Okay, that's a bad guy.
The movie
That's a super bad guy.
The movie
That's the
Joker
worst.
proved you can have a bad guy, but still you can go, I wanna watch this. I'm interested in this bad guy's life. That movie proved that. You could do things like that. So she could have still been a bad person. And yet we could have still felt something. Hell, the movie Devil's Rejects did that.
Yeah. I'm still in shock of how it just dropped to, hey, look, we're just to nothing. And they didn't utilize anything. I wasn't entertained. The last hour of the movie, I was the last action sequence of the movie, the last what would you call it? The climax. I was not entertained. I was not even on the edge of my seat. At least I fucking cared in the first half of the movie. The first two, the first two phases of the movie, I cared about something a little bit. It just fell into nothing. It's like I'm watching a sci-fi channel and just watching a bland freaking thing.
I will say, I enjoyed
Frustrating.
The characters when they came together. I enjoyed them coming together, but I did not like. I did not like how it was done. They had good little banter, and people always said how bad the acting was when she's like, it's not a bow and arrow, it's a crossbow and stuff. Actually, that worked fine because she's been frustrated ever since of people saying that stuff.
Right. I think
that
it was
fine.
I think it was slightly over the top on that dialogue, a little bit, slightly over the top. They could have toned it down just a tiny bit. And been a little bit more subtle, but it kind of works for her character because she doesn't have much communication with other people. She doesn't interact with other people. It's all herself. So
there were a lot of times where I was really confused. Where like when Harley Quinn's home was blown up, and then nobody stayed to kill her. They just threw something there and ran away. I mean, in
job's done.
Like you watch Die Hard, 4? That exact same thing happened. They blew up the place, but then everybody rushed in to make sure they finished the job. I mean, that happens in every action movie. But she was like, "Oh, we're good." And I love how she hid under a table. Yet in any action movie, you could all the way back, like even Eraser did that. In any action movie, if the force was coming this way, you turn the table and you hide behind the table to absorb the blast. But they just hid straight under, and the blast came at them like this, and they were like, "We're fine."
It was fine because it was on the other side of the couch. We're fine. That's how they play it off.
It was very.
What really just irritated me beyond all belief was you gave Harley Quinn fighting abilities, right? Now she doesn't have any. At all. She should have been able to take on the detective.
When she fought that detective, right before that, and that's what I hate about a lot of action movies. People have like these amazing abilities and amazing stuff, but then when they fight someone else, they lose that, and now they're on the same par as something else. Right. So she just took on a whole bunch of people, hand to hand, a whole entire jail cell full of people, and then moved on from there and killed all these other people and fought all these other people. And now she's fighting hand to hand with this detective, and the detective has any kind of one up on her at any point is wrong, because she's never had anybody hurt her or do anything like that or even slap her. No, nothing.
Yeah.
But yet this detective has done it. And you're like, but the detective is not an amazing fighter. The detective literally is just a detective. She wasn't trained specially.
There's a point where, oh look, they go shopping, and in the beginning of the shot, the beginning of the scene, she has a full cart. As soon as they go to the next aisle, her cart is empty except for the first little section. The whole basket of the cart is completely empty.
Oh, you know what I love? During that scene, she says, they're like, you don't want to be like me? And she was like, listen, you don't want to be like me because to be like me, you'd have to go through. And then she tells the whole story real quick of her and the Joker. And you're like, this is the developing some kind of camaraderie with the kid moment. And you're like, but we've heard this a million times. What? Stop it!
Right.
You've talked about this over and over and over
but
again.
I thought it was kind of cute at first, where they're like, okay, and they go right past the laxatives, and then they put the laxatives, and then you reveal the cart that's full, and they go shopping. That at first, funny. Then they just kept it going. It's like you should that should have been the rest of the scene. You just saw that little part, and then they go back to the one place, her place.
They stayed true to it. She did not do a single intelligent thing through the whole movie.
Yeah.
They stayed true to that. Now, another thing that really confused me, at the end of the movie, Huntress, she said, oh, because the Diamond Huntress got all her money back and this and that. But then she said, but then I went out and pawned the diamond. And you're like, huh?
The diamond had codes to enter the.
But did they do that before the taco time when they got it back, or did she like send it to her? Oh, by the way, I stole the little girl and I stole your car. Oh, but then I sent you the codes so that way you got all that stuff back. But I'm gonna keep the diamond.
Probably.
None of that really made sense.
You know what irritated me beyond belief is when she first got her sandwich, she's like, I owe you 75 cents for this, but I will get you that 75 cents. And I looked at Gerald and I was like, it's got to come back into play. She's got to bring that 75 cents back. That's called good writing, to bring something back that was kind of comical from the beginning. Guess what? Never happened.
Like if she stayed true to that 75 cents,
yeah,
that proves that she's also could be a good person.
And she thinks.
And she'll always remember that. She'll always have that intelligence. But no, she never did.
No, she forgot about that 75 cents. So forget that joke. It's just things that built up that could have worked so much better, and it would have been a good movie. No, this is a flatline for me. At the halfway point, it just flatlined.
Even my girlfriend sitting there watching it, she was like,
just,
it's forgettable.
It's so frustrating how much it flatlined at the last
hour.
The last hour of the movie, and that's when it was supposed to get fun. And I'm irritated that the filmmakers would do this.
You know what the sad part is? If you actually think about the movie, at the 54-minute mark, when we sat here and talked, it had a lot of personality. It had a lot of... Each character had something. I mean, even if it was flawed, it still had some personality. It still had its own flavor.
Right.
Then if you actually sit there and think, what happened for the next hour? Because it's an hour left of the movie. I'm like, boom. It's just empty. You're like, it was just so bland. It was literally forgettable.
Yeah.
But the other stuff, you can still remember it because it had enjoyable parts.
You know,
everything else is just like, oh my God. It was just so forgettable. And it's unreal.
We had just watched this. This is like 5 minutes ago. We had just watched this. And I can only remember the parts that just pissed me off. Other than that,
but keep in mind, we watch terrible movies all the time and review them, and it'll be days, and we'll still remember everything about them.
Oh, I'll remember details.
And we just now watched this movie, and the movie was so bland.
The hyena should have been dead at the end.
I feel like the hyena was a joke that just didn't land ever. It was just a pointless joke. Yeah.
You know what?
I wish it actually did something for the character.
I wish in the first half of the movie we were actually at her place for longer than 2 seconds. So when we were looking around the place as a new person, when the thief girl went into the new place and was looking at these things that she had around the room, then we're like, oh, and now we're explaining them, and it's new eyes looking at it and going, that's weird, right? We didn't know anything about the room. That we weren't like, oh, no, I wonder if she's gonna see that. I wonder if she's gonna see that. No, we don't know anything about the room, so we were seeing it for the first time too. And yes, we saw hints of the room throughout the movie, but not enough to actually know, okay, this is her apartment and this is how it's set up. Like, I could tell you the apartment setup for Deadpool. I could tell you the Deadpool, even though it was only small little scenes, but we had a wide on it. We spent a little bit of time in it, and we had some comedy in it. It wasn't just a close-up flash of like 2-3 seconds. It was a scene.
I can fix the whole movie.
How?
Re-editing real quick. So in the very, very, very beginning, that cartoon of Harley Quinn and everything, if we would have started her at the grocery store with the kid, and the kid's like, blah, 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 I want to be just like you. And she's like, you don't want to be just like me. You don't want to be just like me. And then she tells her story, but then we go into the cartoon, and she's telling that.
Wait, you're saying she's not talking to us, she's talking to the little girl, explaining to how she got to that point in the whole, in her life. That would have been good.
And then, like, little things where, like the huntress and stuff, then they go back, and during the event of the big ending where you're like, oh man, all of this is happening, how did this get here? And then it's like, hold on, you stop with like huntress, and then it's like, oh, by the way, here's how she got to this point, here's how, and then you tell her story, and then you go for each person, so that way you have that moment of we're already together in the very beginning. And then we tell their backstory, how we get there, and then, so that way it's not so jarring at the end of the movie that you're like, oh, boom, now we're all together, you know? So you have through the whole thing, just little bits of it.
It still wouldn't have fixed the action sequence at the end.
No, it wouldn't have fixed that, but it would have fixed the storytelling travesty that it became.
If all the action in the movie was subpar like that, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have cared. But you made the action so good in the first half of the movie. So good.
There is a reason that in the trailer they never show any of that sequence. It's not because it's like, oh, let's hide this so that way people don't ever get to see. So that way it's so cool when they see it at the end. No. They hide that in the trailer because it was so just piss poor in the whole Joker area thing that you were like, oh, okay. Keep that.
You know how frustrating it is? It is as frustrating as Batman versus Superman, okay? And it was the Batman scene against everybody else.
That was just so good.
That was so good. And you're like, where was that the rest of the movie? Where was that type of action? And you're just like, what made them go, okay, let's have this type of action, but never do it again. And let's just make this amazing action sequence. How do they feel about this other action sequences?
I remember showing you this, and I go, hey Michael, there's a sequence in this movie that you're gonna go like, holy shit, that was cool.
Oh, I'm a fan of the Arkham games, okay? Arkham City, Arkham Asylum.
I remember you were sitting there through the whole movie like this.
Yeah, I was irritated.
Because the whole movie was crap, and then you saw that scene and you were like,
oh, I stood up excited. I was like, oh, this is my, this is, that, hey, dude, that's me. That's me playing the video game. That's
me on easy playing the video game.
unscathed, and it's just. I'm just.
And that's what they did wrong. I think that's honestly that's how I feel that they do wrong through all DC movies, is they have like good ideas in certain moments, but they don't know how to piece them together.
Because I mean, if you look at the movie in a whole, okay, and then you look at the ending, it didn't have. I'm talking about the ending action sequence, not the outside where it's all CGI and stuff. That looked pretty. That was cool.
You can make anything look pretty in CGI.
In CGI,
all CGI world.
But,
you better make sure it looks good.
Inside the fun house, the booby trap, which didn't make sense. Why do you call fun house the booby trap? Inside Carnival.
I thought they were going to a strip club.
Yeah, I mean, if it's for families, you don't call it the booby trap. Sorry. So you have that sequence. Every other scene in the entire movie had interesting lighting, interesting visuals. This had interesting color and stuff on the walls, but the lighting,
interesting like objects
and stuff.
But then it's just big light.
Right.
It was almost like floodlight.
But yet everything else, it's like we didn't even try.
Yeah.
In the rest, but everything else, and I'm talking about this. I'm not like, everything should be artistic. No, but the rest of the movie was really good. Rest of the movie had, look, Harley Quinn's looking at you, and she had purple on this side of her face and blue on this side of her face, accentuating the
and you
different
had
colors.
Some blue in the darkness.
You're like,
behind, yeah.
It was artistic every step of the way, except for that scene. Except for that fight scene, and then we're like, let's not even try.
And I love how the fight sequence, I mean, it was almost like you take Taken 3, and you just kind of, they're like, okay, listen, we're going to try doing an action sequence. Taken 3. They're like, okay, it's going to take 69 cuts for Liam Neeson to get over this fence.
That would have, actually, I'm sorry, that would have made it a lot more exciting.
I know.
If they had done that. No, these they were like, hey, look, action sequences need wides and medium shots to show everything, and then we're gonna have a cut in of a close up every now and then, and with terrible what's that choreography?
What's that movie? District B13.
Oh yeah.
With the guy who did the big good parkour and stuff.
Yeah. He was also in Brick Mansions.
Well, yes, but it was the original of that.
Yeah, it was original Brick Mansions. It was like D13 or D.
District B13 or something like that.
Yeah.
So take that movie, and they had a lot of wides, and they did like a lot of cool shots, but everybody in there was like a really good stuntman.
Right.
Really good. You saw actual punches hitting people. But then when they did it in this movie, and I think the choreographer and the ending was trying to do that. And so they had like during the tongue sequence of all these tongues that she was jumping on, Huntress, they were like, let's do an over the head shot going like this, and she's going across, and then going across like this on the side, and you have her doing this, but then you see every punch like doesn't really work. Like none of this seemed legit enough, and you had to fix that with cuts at certain angles because it just didn't work.
And like you take earlier, the earlier action sequences, you had these nice mediums and wides of the action, but you had a moving shot or something was moving toward the camera and swooping around the camera.
Why?
They couldn't do it. They didn't do any of that.
So here is why
Tasteless.
They said, hey, in the jail sequence, we're going to have the water pouring down. Because if you have somebody who is obviously weaker, skinny arm, throwing a punch towards somebody who is not weak, who has like a big ripped or whatever, you need to show force. You can't show that force with just the regular action. That's why they had the water. So when she's like swirling around, you see the water flying up. You see more force coming out of the attack because of the water. So it seems like there's more impact
Right, and
between these things.
That's why in a lot of boxing movies and stuff, you see the powder go off the person when you hit.
That's
them
why actually
to
they do
show
that in a
force.
lot of Japanese. In general, karate or kung fu movies is they have when the punch hits, you see debris come off, so that way you feel that there's more power behind it.
Right.
And they couldn't. They did that earlier on because they knew what they were doing.
Right, and that's why they had the confetti from the beanbags.
It showed the impact. It showed boom.
Right,
Whoa.
and that's why earlier on also the that they had it was all cocaine, and she was using the cocaine and like hitting people with the cocaine bags, and they were exploding and stuff to show the impact, the force that she was using with this. And they did not do any of that. They didn't understand. Well, whoever did the ending action sequence didn't understand that little nuance that you would have to do.
You have to do it, and it is mainly because of it is if you see something like a really ripped person, really huge person, and they throw someone, you're like, well, that's believable. That makes sense. They throw someone. Now they even did that with the very terrible Dark Knight Rises. I'm actually giving the Dark Knight Rises props for a moment. When you see Bane throw a punch and hit Batman, they don't just show the boom, boom, boom. You actually see the cracking. You actually see Batman stumble and fly back.
Right.
When
good
action
movies, you either see something break, you either see the person reacting and couldn't breathe or being hurt, or you see the bruising and stuff, the breaking of the blood vessels and stuff later. You see them already hurt and destroyed.
Or like they dodge it and the person breaks part of the wall.
Right.
And so if you see the part of the impact, you have to know what kind of impact they're creating.
Right.
And when you see these girls throwing these punches who have no muscle whatsoever, definition in their arms, I mean, they have a decent, like, I'm physically fit, but I mean, it's nothing that you're going to say, oh my God, that's going to knock me out.
Right.
You know?
And so you have to show strength.
You have to show the impacts somewhere else in some way.
And all they ever did was, hey, look, I'll show CGI blood come off the guy's face, or
with
the person
mallet that hit him,
or the person fly, and that's not enough.
I love the fact that you do see her throw the mallet and it hits the guy in the face and he falls over and you see the mallet go bounce in the background. I noticed that. I was like, that was a rubber mallet. If that was a really heavy mallet that really caused that kind of,
it would just go
blood. It would go and just
you know what?
land.
You know what? Another thing that bothered me is just a random knife that flies over her head. The Black Canary. It flies over her head and nobody. Where'd it come from? Who's throwing it? Nobody cares. We don't care enough about that knife to actually care about who threw it. Did it almost hit her? Nothing. It's just. Oh, hey, duck. Now you duck? Now you want to duck?
I actually think the best example of a fight sequence was the new Mission Impossible. Just the bathroom fight sequence. You're into a hand-to-hand thing. That was fantastic because you get where in a fight sequence you have to have enough where the bad guy or the bad force is on top at certain points. You can't always have the good guys winning all the time, or else you're bored.
You have to have reasons why this person is used and this person is used and that person is used, or it's just going to get muddled if everybody has the same strengths. And so Harley Quinn should have been a different type of fighter. Huntress should have been a different type of fighter. Everybody was the same fighting style except for the detective who boxed.
Well, no, even the Huntress. Huntress used a crossbow sometimes.
So, But I do have to say, I really like the song that played during the montage of let's get to the park, the abandoned
Booby trap.
abandoned booby trap. I liked the song that was playing there. There was a terrible choice of song earlier where it was.
Oh, Blackberry.
Yeah. Oh, Black Play. That was a terrible choice of song during that fight scene.
You know,
and then they played Barracuda.
Yeah,
at the
Barracuda
end,
did not work.
Which, I'm sorry.
I've seen it in movies work really well, and that this one did not work because
No.
if you're gonna choose a song, edit the action to the song.
They needed,
just played these songs.
right.
That's it.
They needed to play a song that Harley Quinn would be thinking of.
So
it worked.
A thing that works is things like Blade 2. When he stands up and he goes, "Attention, all you
Mother!"
and then he just goes on a rampage, but it's edited to the music.
Yeah, but that's Guillermo.
But that's Guillermo del Toro. That's
Yeah.
actually a good director that understands things.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest problem about the movie is I feel like it lost direction. I feel like this is a directorial problem.
Yes.
The director lost the direction that she wanted to go, and she did not. I think all of the pluses are because she hired the right people. I think they were mistakes. So, like, the good action in the very beginning, of course, is
I think
from the right director
I
or
think
right, choreographer. But the bad directorial part was choosing the wrong songs for this and not knowing how to even edit it
as well as I think the little gripes we had in the very beginning was directorial, and
I think the Harley Quinn problems that we had were directorial.
So would you say this is a movie to go see?
I say if you like if you want to see a fun Harley Quinn movie, watch the first half of the movie and then turn it off. Because I feel like they literally ruin her character.
Yeah, because of how. I mean, go see it. That's fine, but don't expect to be excited.
Don't expect to be wowed in any way.
No, don't expect to enjoy it for the first half, and then it'll just.
You know what? It's the equivalent to me of Jared Leto's Joker. You're like, oh, it's different, and then you're like, oh,
It's enough.
yeah, I'm done.
That's enough of it. Yeah.
Could we have stopped this, made this like 2 hours early?
Check out some more of our content. We could go on about this. This is probably a 30-40 minute thing, and we need to stop because I'm not editing all this.
Emotional Productions. We make what you need.